issues around cultural diversity in toys are as old as the industry itself. For many years, the solution was to change the color, not the features of the doll. But that's all changing as we learn at our last stop inside a Randolph hair salon, where we find a toy factory with a twist.
It's very important for a child to be able to have a doll that look like them.
Growing up in Haiti, Fusion Doll founder Wadleen Piram says pretty pictures and the toys available to her created an image of beauty that didn't reflect her own.
I really was struggling with self-love. I even permed my hair when I was really young without my mom knowing. But if you know anything about Caribbean families, it was like, they did not take it well.
After moving to the U.S. in search of a better life, she took a couple of business classes, tracked down a manufacturer, and in 2017, with $500, launched Fusion Dolls.
I only was able to afford 30 dolls, and then they were sold so quickly. My first customers was my family, my friends. We have Angel here, Chloe, Malika.
It didn't take long for word of mouth and passion to start building her business. Each one has their own unique story, one that reflects the allure in all shades.
I don't know, what do you say? I mean, I love the pink. I think it's really nice.
The clothes are handmade, stitched together in the bright colors of tradition.
This is our Kwanzaa outfit.
And awareness of modern struggles.
We have a nurse here.
Yes.
And here you even have a little mask. Can you show me? You can lift it up and down.
She wants to protect herself, so
she can put the mask on.
yes.
Piram now sells her dolls to customers all over the world and has donated more than 100 to an orphanage near her hometown in Haiti.
Everyone that's watching me right now, I want you guys to know that you guys are beautiful, you are unique, and use your powers because you guys are born with it already.
Had a site in Dorchester. It's called the Industrial School for Girls. 1860s school where all the girls were taken from their families, brought to the school, and basically trained to become domestic servants. The biggest fear was that these ladies would eventually go into prostitution or live in squalor for the rest of their lives. While at the school, they played with dolls, they learned how to serve tea, they learned reading and writing, but they also rebelled. And so we actually found that they were deliberately breaking objects and hiding them in the outhouse, deliberately smashed objects in secret because we had the rest of their trash somewhere else. These were all the artifacts that they carefully, secretly hid. So this one's been glued back together with the parts that we were able to find, but we have about 200 dolls smashed in the outhouse. And we think that they were rebelling against these things because one, they weren't their personal dolls, they were being issued dolls, and they would have trained their dolls into how to serve tea to kind of repeat the lessons that they would learn. And that wasn't just fun, it was training for service, and these girls were ages 6 to 15. And so we think that part of what they were doing was just rebelling against having to be in this home, but also being forced into this kind of professional life at age 10, essentially.
Dolls have come a long way since Barbie was born in 1959, but not far enough for Raveen James of Randolph, whose mission is to bring some reality to this fantasy world.
I want women and girls to be comfortable in their skin. No matter what you look like, no matter your hair type, your ethnicity, you are a beautiful blessing.
Not surprisingly, Beautiful Blessings is the name of the company James started in 2016.
The inspiration for me was just talking to girls and women. A lot of women, a lot of girls not feeling beautiful as they are without having surgery, without thinking that something needs to be done to their hair or their skin tone. I wanted girls and women to know that they were created beautiful. So that's how I got here. That's why the product initiated. And I wanted people to have confidence and self-esteem in who they are and what their achievements and what their pursuits are.
James says the dolls are meant to empower.
They're curvy. This is our natural body type. And I want girls to know that even though you're shapely, you're still beautiful and you can wear whatever you want to wear with taste and with class. I want parents to be comfortable buying this product for their child. I wanted them to be affordable because I want girls and women to feel empowered in all that they do. And we don't necessarily get those powerful messages all the time from societal images and different things that we see on TV. It's not always a positive influence, and that's what I'm trying to do with the dolls.
Inside this quiet Hopkinton house, wigs, eyeballs, dangling limbs.
Body parts.
But this isn't a creepy laboratory, merely a hospital for dolls.
I started collecting dolls over 30 years ago, and I always liked the little doll in the corner that needed help. I wanted more and more to know how to fix them correctly.
Janice, also known as Jenny McIntyre, is a doll doctor. What started out as a hobby has turned into a full-fledged business, Jenny's Baby Doll Hospital.
When I first started this, a lot of people thought I was crazy, of course. They laughed, and they said, a doll doctor? Then I had my car done. My car's all up like a little ambulance. The more and more it becomes popular, they start to believe.
Injured patients from all over the country are shipped here or dropped off.
I do stuffed animals, dolls that are bisque, china, composition, soft vinyl, hard vinyl, from the 1800s up to the present, American Girl dolls.
McIntyre belongs to the National Doll Doctors Association. Yes, there is such a thing, and often talks about her practice at senior centers and churches.
When I go to the nursing homes and do a seminar, I set up like 35 dolls. The memories that come back and the stories that they tell. Good times, you know, when you were able to just play and there wasn't a care in the world.
Among McIntyre's toughest challenges, healing cracked wood.
And a lot of the time they are kept in an attic, they're kept in a closet, hot, cold, hot, cold. So you have to pop all the paint off of them and then fill it in and then sand it, fill it, sand it, and then paint it.
Jean White, McIntyre's friend since second grade, functions as a nurse and surgical assistant. Every task is delicate. These dolls from Germany date back to the 1800s.
These are bisque head, they're glass eyes. A lot of them have human hair, some had mohair, and they're ball joints, so there could be up to 15 pieces between the legs, the body, and the arms.
Dolls are restuffed, restrung, and restyled, often with new clothes. Medical magic at work.
It's just satisfying to be able to fix the doll and bring it back to life.
The name of the doll artist, who was your aunt, was Dorothy Heiser.
She would give me a doll every time I came to visit. It's a wonder I didn't visit twice as much, but they were far enough away, so
Right.
It was an all-day trip.
And she was born in Pennsylvania about 1881, I believe, in
I think
what
that's
I've read.
correct, yeah.
And she was born during a time when women artists were, it was hard for them to make a place in the world as far as fine arts. And she developed this wonderful craft of making these lifelike dolls. And
They are
they're all sculpted in silk
Yeah.
and hand painted. And she did dolls of historical people. She did generic dolls, just pretty little dolls. And when you opened the boxes, I don't know if you saw my face, but I think I went, oh.
I was looking at the dolls.
Right. Anyway, I called a friend of mine before we went on camera that collects Dorothy Heisers and was telling her about these, and she said she knows of no one that has Dorothy Heiser in its original box. And I said,
I was a collector even then.
yeah. And so you've heard on the ROADSHOW how much more it adds to their value to be in an original box. Well, here you have 1, 2, 3 in original boxes. Let's start with the largest one over here. It's an amazing example of one of her dolls. It's in beautiful condition, shoes, clothes, all of the hand sculpting. And again, the original box, which is hand painted by Dorothy and handwritten with her name. She actually signed the box like it was a work of art.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. What I thought I would talk about next is what your dolls are worth, what their value would be. And I'm going to be talking in terms of retail prices because these are so popular now that's where the best venue would be, in a retail setting.
And there's a limited number. I mean,
Right. I believe the box is so rare on this first doll,
even with all the
even with all of the
Scotch tape.
yeah. I believe that doll in its box would retail between $5,000 and $6,000. Small doesn't necessarily mean less. I've not seen those, again, in original boxes, so I would think these small dolls with the original box would be somewhere in the $2,000 range. And you have two of those. Then the doll with the extra clothing, I think would probably be in the range of $1,000 to $1,200. You're talking about an amazing collection. You're talking about rarity. You're talking about aesthetically beautiful dolls.
How about the special person who made them?
And then knowing the family history and knowing that you are the niece of this very fine artist.
Very special person.
Yes.